So, um, when it comes to mental health, right? And in terms of life and, music and creativity and things like that, um, it's the cliche, you should take care of your mental health, you should do this, you should do that. Those kind of sentiments are obvious. Um, but I think when you're pursuing a goal, when you're pursuing a dream, when you're pursuing things in life that are like much greater than complacency, I think it can get a little rough. And you know, um, I always like to talk about mental health a little bit here on the show every once in a while. I don't like to make the show like super mental health centered. Not that I would think it's a bad thing, but when I do talk about it, I want it to be serious. You know what I mean? And a little bit more like, um just spot on. And you know, when it comes to a lot of the stuff that we do as creatives, a lot of the stuff that we do as artists, or even just in any aspect of life, right? You could be chasing any sort of goal, trying to accomplish any sort of goal or dream. You could be a fucking race car driver, you could be a fucking mechanic, you could be this, that, and the third. It doesn't matter what you're doing. But if you're chasing something that's bigger than you, and you notice your mental health sort of start to like take a toll, man, um, take a break. You know what I mean? And I'm not just saying like take a break from creating or take a break from this and no, like take a break from like life and take a step back, right? Do whatever you need to do for yourself um to kind of like heal a little bit. Cuz as much as like of like a hustle junkie and like a grinder that I am, right? One thing that many of my artists and many of my mutuals will tell you is that mental health is very serious when it comes down to the shit though for me. um in terms of like time off, when you need time off, what burnout is and how to recognize it, how shit can just creep up on you, a whole lot of like really weird angles. And a lot of it goes not only just for like creative aspects but for life, right? For life in general. I think a lot of these tips apply for everything, not just for when you're creative, but when you're creative it stacks on the pressure, right? It stacks on the pressure to be great, it stacks on the pressure to level up, it stacks on the pressure to like prove yourself right, and improve and see progress within yourself. So it stacks that like unknown pressure on yourself, which I think is very healthy to a degree. But also if you're in the wrong headspace, it can fuck you up, right? It can fucking destroy you. So that's where I say you got to recognize it and understand like where and when you need a break and how to prioritize your mental health. And the reason you want to prioritize it is not only uh, like health is wealth, right? Health is very important, mental, physical, everything. But past that, you don't create at your best when you're at your worst. And sometimes you can create a lot of beautiful things when you're in dark places. That's not what I'm talking about. But like truly being consistent with that is very hard, right? Because even if you make a couple like dark, sad bangers, you're not going to be doing that on the daily. You know what I mean? Where as to if you were like at least in a more healthier headspace, and I'm not even saying like super happy, cheery headspace. Like if you're in a more healthier headspace, you can crank out more work. You can crank out more stuff. As opposed to being in a dark place and only cranking out dark shit. Because I've been there. You know what I mean? That's definitely something where I've had to like come to terms with like, okay, um, I've made my best music when I was at my worst and I was like at my saddest. But it's like, okay, I'm in like this kind of healing phase in my life, right? How do I kind of accommodate for that? Because you kind of, get in a weird gray area when you create like that. So there's so many reasons why you need to prioritize your mental health when it comes to creating anything. And it's not just music, it's not just art, it's not just underground shit, it's not just any of that. It's everything in life, no matter what you're doing. Um so how do you prioritize it, right? Recognize when you're kind of like snowballing and be like, okay, like let me just back off. You know what I mean? Let me just kind of like wait a second here. You know what I mean? And realize that you're going way too hard. And sometimes you can push through. Sometimes you can push through. But other times you just need a couple of days off. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just need that like 48 to like 72-hour window to just do nothing. Wake up, eat a bunch of comfort food, go back to sleep, wake up, take a shower, eat a bunch of food, smoke, go to bed. Like sometimes you need to do that for like 2 or 3 days to gain that mental clarity back. And not a lot of people understand that. Like just because it's one day doesn't mean that's enough. You know what I mean? Sometimes you do need like a good 2, 3 days. Some people need a week. As to where they're like, okay, I just gotta clear my plate, I gotta do this, gotta do that. And you gotta recognize when that is. You know what I mean? For yourself, for your people around you, for your team, and all the above, right? So mental health is so important not only for your health, right? It's in the name, but it's important for you to kind of flourish and you to kind of like become your best self. You know what I mean? You're never gonna make um new strides when you're at your worst. And I'm not saying that like you need to be 100% all the time. Like nobody's like 100% 24/7. I don't think that's possible whatsoever. Um there are going to be days where you just kind of push through shit and you're like fuck it. You know what I mean? And then there are going to be days where you're recognizing that shit's like a little bit more heavier than it needs to be. And I think it's important to just recognize those days and be like, okay, well, I'll just fucking take the weight off and I'll just take a break. You know what I mean? Like, I think taking a break is much more like uh accomplishable than like burnout because burnout creates a mess. Taking a break doesn't take a mess. You know what I mean? It just doesn't. But burnout, you can like fuck up a whole lot of relationships. You can fuck up a whole lot of projects. You can fuck up a whole lot of things when it comes to like overexerting yourself. So that's why like you'll see me kind of like take like 1 or 2 days as to where like I just shut out the world. I shut my phone off. I do this. I do that. I do whatever I need to do to like get back to where I need to go. And that's how I kind of push through, and that's how I have done it for so long. You know what I mean? Is because I prioritize that. I prioritize like my battery, so to speak. And I definitely think there's ways for everybody to prioritize their battery, and this is definitely just a friendly reminder to do so. You know what I mean? I try to talk about mental health here on the show every once and a while. Definitely something that's like very, very important, and definitely something that's like you just got to do it, man. You just really, really got to do it. So that's that on that, my friends. Definitely take care of yourselves. Definitely take care of your friends. Check in on your friends, and make sure your friends are checking in on you too, right? Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to fucking come to anybody for anything. You know, all that is very, very important as well. And that'll definitely be uploaded on the YouTube channel. So if you have any tips for mental health, or you have any things that you like to do for yourself, we definitely want to hear them, and we definitely want to hear what helps you guys kind of stay afloat on your bad days. You know what I mean? So very, very important. But that's that on that.